always have an excuse, but when the prices go down, they never seem to share that with us.
No, you're right, Nana. Nice to speak to you again. The simple thing is this. I mean, the hard press, we're looking at a cost of living crisis. I've got 2 emails in front of me I pulled out for you. One from a woman called Jeannie. She's an old age pensioner from Norwich. Says, I use British Gas and I switch my boiler on for just 30 minutes a day to allow me to wash. And I eat cold food as my stove is gas. I cannot afford to pay for gas. And Jim from Leeds has just said, this massive increase in profit, my gas bill has doubled in the last 12 months. Now he's basically saying, I know where the profits are gone now. It's going to shareholders' pockets, etc. And it's all very well Jeremy Hunt asking them to explain what they're going to do with it. He should be ordering them to actually put it back into consumers' pockets.
Well, you've got to wonder. I mean, I'm sick and tired of the fact that the prices are ridiculously high, and that the government keep coming up with solutions whereby we actually borrow money off the government, which is borrow money off ourselves, to pay for these prices, rather than forcing these companies to either reduce the prices. So in the end, we're paying for our own, giving them basically, I mean, the price cap, didn't it pretty much give them about a 500 million windfall in a sense, because they set it at such a rate that it meant they could capitalise on that?
Yes, you're absolutely right. And that we've talked about, I think Rishi's actually boasting that he's introduced a windfall tax, which he put it on oil companies. But I don't see much of that actual windfall tax going back into consumers' pockets. And that's the sort of thing that we've got to hear from. And you're talking quite rightly to ask questions about NatWest. We should be doing a freedom of information request. Well, this is an official request I represent 1.7 million drivers. Where is the money going? What's going on? It's certainly not going to consumers' pockets. And that's the point, isn't it, Nana?
Well, exactly. Where is the money going? Some of the prices that they did not pass the savings on the forecourts as well. So, for example, if you're filling up your car with petrol or diesel, they never passed on the actual fact that the price was dropping in terms of the price per barrel. But we never got that. So who is benefiting? Is it the people on the forecourts when it comes to petrol in the cars? Who is benefiting?
Well, we could have another 2 hours talking about this, but the Competition and Markets Authority came out and finally, after a long, long time of several investigations, recognised there's opportunistic profiteering going on in the fuel supply chain. It's not so much the actual forecourts, Nana. It's the people further up the fuel supply chain, the wholesalers and the refineries and the big oil companies. They're the ones doing that. And they actually, the CMA came out and recommended my pump watch idea, and we're still waiting. I understand Grant Shapps met with them a couple of Mondays ago with the oil companies and the supermarkets. Say, OK, we now know you're profiteering. Please, can you actually make sure you don't do it again? And this is what we're going to do. But it's gone quiet again. Nothing happens. The government are completely...
But what can we do? Because ultimately the government are the regulators, in a sense, for this industry, because they have Ofgem. So they're the ones that are setting the price caps, which enable this behaviour to carry on, and enabling it. Instead of forcing them to bring the price cap down, they're saying, we understand, we're going to put it quite high. We're going to allow them to borrow back, so we're going to keep the price low for the people, but really we'll pay you more. So what can the government do? These windfall taxes, I don't think any of them have paid anything because of the way they've been structured. Correct. It's just getting silly.
You're absolutely right. And the point is, what we said right at the earlier of this interview is actually Jeremy Hunt is simply saying, please explain what you're doing. No, Jeremy, go in there and say, this is what you're going to do. I represent voters and consumers. The population of this country needs to know exactly where is all this profit going. At the moment, it's going to go into shareholders' pockets. Is it going to go into actually starting fracking? Is it going to open up wells in the North Sea? What is happening with this money?
Well, that's a good question. Even if we do go green and have these wonderful renewable companies doing stuff, again, we'll be asking the same questions. Howard Cox, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. That's Howard Cox from Fairfuel UK.